You're expanding beings, aren't you? You can't stand still for a minute. Which means life is serving you in exactly the way you knew it would. You knew, as you came forth and focused into these magnificent bodies, surrounded by each other in this perfect leading edge environment, you knew that you would be inspired to new awarenesses and new ideas. Most of all, you knew that the leading edge genius creator that is you would be inspired to a new idea of your personal and unique desire. You knew that you would be adding not only into your own life experience, but to the universe at large. You knew that you could not live in an environment in contrast without new preferences and desires being born. And you knew something very important. Beyond that, you knew that when that desire emanated from you, that the source that really is you would join that idea. In other words, you knew that if life caused you to know that you wanted more of something, that a rocket of desire would shoot forth from you, and that an advance, pre-paving, vibrational expression of you would shoot forth. You knew that you would continue to be reborn as a result of the life that you're living. You knew that it would be a constant expanding you. But you also knew that it wasn't just the expanding you in your physical form clump sitting on a physical chair. You knew that when life caused you in your physical form to want something more, that the larger part of you would not just embrace it, not just answer it, but become it fully. You knew that this life would cause you to expand, and you were so excited about this constantly evolving vibrational escrow. And by vibrational escrow, we mean the expanding you that precedes the physical you catching up with the expanding you. In other words, when you don't have enough of something, you ask for more. And when you ask for more, in the moment that you ask, Source not only answers your request, but becomes it. You understand that you come from a stream of consciousness. And do you understand that the part of that stream of consciousness that is you is also Source? So when your life causes you to become more, the Source within you becomes it. You could say that as Jerry and Esther are living their life here in this physical expression, Jerry lived some life before Esther got here, and he lived lots of life, and so did Esther before they met each other. And when they came together, they were different people in the sense that they had lived different lives, and so they had come to different points of desire. But they were same in the sense that they were teachers of family of consciousness coming forth, wanting to help expand understanding of how this all fits together. And so as they bang around together, as they live life separately and together, they set forth many rockets of desires that caused a sort of vibrational escrow to precede them. You know how we talk about how if you don't have enough money, you want more money, and if you're sick, you want to be well. Well, in all that you are living, you are setting forth this vibrational escrow, and you could say accurately, and especially if you're really out here on the leading edge understanding how all of this works, you could say that Abraham, as you hear Abraham today, is this vibrational escrow that has been created by that which Jerry and Esther are. So what you are hearing here is this part of Source, not all of Source, this part of Source that has been honed through the process of that which Jerry and Esther are living. And so as you hear Abraham expressing here, Esther is not hearing words and repeating them to you. She is receiving this block of thought from this expanded consciousness, and she is finding physical word equivalents to express to you. And all of you have this same experience if you want it, because every one of you is an extension of Source energy, and every one of you is living life and building your vibrational escrow. And the Source that you have become is available to you at all times if you will but let it be. That's what allowing is. Allowing means finding somehow, some way, vibrational resonance with that which I really am. So, it's not your job to find vibrational resonance with Jerry and Esther's vibrational escrow or with anyone else's. It's your job to close the gap between you and you. It's your job to be the source energy in physical bodies. But we want you to hear the whole story of this. We want you to understand that you are far more source energy than you are the physical flesh, blood, and bone being that you know as you. You are source energy. You are vibration. You were source energy before you came into this body, and you are source energy. Now you have become this person that you know as you. But there is another part of you that most of you are not even thinking about. People think about being dead or alive. They talk about the soul. They talk about God. They talk about God as if it is something that is separate from them. They even talk about soul as if it is something separate from them. I can't have my soul while I'm physically focused. I'm alive now. I have to be dead before I'm my soul. And we say, you are always this stream of consciousness. You are ever connected to that which is source. And the better you feel, the more in vibrational alignment with who you really are, you are in any point in time. So you're sort of getting the sense of how this works. So, you said from your non-physical perspective, I'm going to project part of my awareness into the physical leading edge, leading edge, leading edge, leading edge, leading edge, not bleeding, leading edge, time-space reality. I'm going to focus my consciousness into this environment, and in doing so, I will surround myself with a platform of understanding. I will be socialized into my environment, but I will be uniquely me, and from the contrast that I live, I will give birth to new desire. And when I give birth to new desire, you knew this and said this from your non-physical perspective, I know that the larger part of me, in the moment that I identify a preference or a desire, even if I'm still talking about what I don't want, I am identifying what I do want. The source within me will become the vibrational equivalent of that ever-evolving, ever-expanding, always morphing into more me. So this gathering isn't talking about that. We don't need to give you guidance about how to explore contrast. You can't stop it. We don't have to give you guidance about how to develop desire. You can't stop it. The environment into which you were born is set up in that way. You give birth to constant new desires. And source is the answering of the desires. Your work and what you came here to live specifically in this time, your work is to find vibrational alignment with what you have become. So, for example, if you don't have enough money, you ask for more money, and the larger part of you, the non-physical part of you, becomes more prosperous. Now, some of you say, big deal. Where's my stuff? And we say, don't underestimate the value of living contrast and setting forth this rocket of desire. Because everything that you know as physical expression of life was first thought and then eventually thought form. We're giving you a really abbreviated version, and eventually became the manifestation that you know as life experience. Before you can want it, you have to live the contrast. Before you can give birth to it, you have to live the contrast. When you give birth to it, Source always answers it. Before you can receive it in terms of manifestation, you have to find a way of becoming a vibrational match to what you have asked for. You must be a vibrational match to your desire. And that's why the art of allowing is something that you're really wanting to get the hang of. You're really wanting to begin to pay attention to the guidance that you were born with that lets you know how allowing you are of that which you have become or not. From this source energy perspective, you've become physical. From this physical perspective, you've asked for more, which the source part of you has become. So the source part of you is all that it was before you lived this physical life, and so much more because you have lived this physical life. And the emotions that you feel are your indicator of how much of who you have become through this life experience you're now letting yourself be. In other words, when you feel joy, you're right up to speed with who you are. When you feel pain, you're not. When you feel appreciation, you're in harmony with who you are. When you feel criticism, you are not. Your emotions let you know whether you are in vibrational alignment with the larger part of you or not. So, do you get it that you were source before this? Of course you do. Nothing else makes sense. And do you get it that there is a reason for this life and that it is for the joyous expansion of all that is? You're beginning to understand that. Your own life keeps showing that to you. And here's the thing that we want you to hear as a result of being with us here today. We want you to understand that once you become more, if you are to feel joy, you've got to keep up with what you've become. Life cannot cause you to ask for something and you continue to beat the drum of why you need it and you be in alignment with what you're asking for. Simplest example in the world is you need more of something. You don't have enough of something. Let's say money, since it's something that everyone understands. You don't have enough of it, and every time you don't have enough of it, or every time you want something more than the money you have will provide, you set forth a rocket of desire requesting more, and every time you ask, whether you use words or not, source becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you are asking for. Can you hear that? You cannot ask without an expansion of the larger part of you occurring in the moment. That's what the evolution of all species is about. That's why we can promise you with unquestioning understanding that everything is becoming more and nothing is shrinking back. There is no regression. There is no going back from what was. In other words, here you are standing in this leading edge place, and the source within you has become the culmination of all that you have asked for. So the question that this workshop wants to ask and answer is, what are you doing about that? How are you doing in keeping up with who you have become? And we want to say to you, you can't not keep up. When you croak, oh, you'll keep up. In other words, in any moment that you stop resisting by beating the drum of what's wrong, or beating the drum of what you don't want, or beating the drum of who's doing what to who, in the moment that you stop pushing against unwanted things, your vibration moves in the direction of the things that you want every single time. You are literally like a cork bobbing on this sea of well-being. Oh, in your physical expression, you can hold the cork under the water. You can try to drown the little bugger. But when, in the moment that you distract yourself from it and let go of it, it will bob right back up to the surface, right back where you belong, right back in vibrational alignment with who you are. You cannot cease to be the expanded version of you. But in your physical form, you can pinch yourself off pretty good from the expanded version of you, can't you? You can continue to beat the drum of why I need the money. I need this money. It's not fair that I don't have this money. I really, really need this money. I've wanted this money for as long as I can remember. Where is my money? Where is my money? Where is my money? Where is my money? And when you fixate on what is, you hold yourself in vibrational alignment with what is, and you don't allow yourself to go easily toward the expanded version that life caused you to ask for. It's supposed to go well for you, and it does and will. Look around you. Look at all the negative stuff that is force-fed to you through your television, and look how really well you are doing. If they were giving you an accurate rendition of the negative news of the world, you would turn on your television one day, you would be listening to beautiful music and watching beautiful things, and occasionally you will hear zip, and you'd say, what's that? And some wise one would tell you, oh, that was all of the negative things that happened all over the world today. But when you train yourself into a disproportionate view of things, when you train yourself to worry about this and that, when you fuss and worry, when you wage war against terrorism and war against cancer and war against violence and war against drugs and war against teenage pregnancy and war against, when you push against those unwanted things, you hold yourselves unnecessarily in vibrational alignment with what you don't want. And you cannot hold yourself in vibrational alignment with what you don't want and allow yourself to be what you do want, to be a vibrational match to what life has caused you to ask for. So your emotions in every moment let you know how you're doing with this gap between what life caused you to become, and we really want to state that in a way that you can feel it. Source within you has become more because of you. But we don't even want you to separate, even in a little way, the source within you and the source that is there with you, with the source that is the you that is you in your expanded form. We so want you to get the sense of who you are.